So I think pretty much all of us can agree that the Masters of the Universe show that was made by Kevin Smith, that was made by Netflix, was an absolute failure in many different ways. It wasn't a good reboot of an old show, just like many other reboots of old stuff nowadays. But if you look on the Rotten Tomatoes score, it looks pretty good. Average tomato meter, 94% for the critic score. And then if you look at the average audience score, it's 38%. That is absolutely awful. But people like Kevin Smith, the He-Man fans, the Masters of the Universe fans, I should say, because they said it was a He-Man show. We all know the story. They claimed it was a show all about He-Man. They claimed that Kevin Smith said that. He lied to us for a year and a half straight, saying that this show was going to be all about He-Man. You look at the picture right here. It's a He-Man picture. He-Man's in the center of the picture. Skeletor's in the center of the picture, which they also did something to Skeletor as well. If you look right here, they changed Skeletor's origin story to a pretty lame origin story in comparison to his original origin story. But going back to this audience score, it's not even as bad as it really is. It was way worse than 38%. I believe it was around 25 to 28%. And then they froze the scores and bumped it up 10 to 12%. Bumped it up to 38%, which is it's not a real representation of how bad it truly is. But 38% is still pretty damn bad. Even though they doctored the score, they still couldn't make it look like a good score or even like a not horrible score without making it completely obvious that they were doctoring the score. So they tried to keep it kind of a secret. They tried to keep it kind of discreet, but they also tried to bump it up a few percent. It didn't really help, 28%. The difference between 28% and 38% is really not that much when it comes to the optics of the show. But even though this show was as bad as it was, even though the critic score was 94% and the audience score was 38%, as bad as this show was, as bad as the audience perceived this show, as bad as the audience had backlash towards Kevin Smith for how they handled this show, for how Netflix and Kevin Smith handled this show, they're still spawning new versions of this show. And Netflix's new He-Man cartoon was apparently made for today's kids, not yesterday's generation of fans. Well, isn't that the excuse that they use for the Kevin Smith He-Man show? Because Kevin Smith said multiple times that the show that he made was made for those old fans of the 80s cartoon. And yet, whenever the show came out and everyone who was fans of the old cartoon ended up hating the show, they said that it was only made for kids. They said it was only made to sell toys. It's crazy how that works. It's crazy how in the marketing for the show, they say it's a He-Man show and they say that it's made for the fans of the original cartoon. And yet when the show comes out and those fans that it's apparently being made for end up hating the show, then it's turned into, it's just a kid's show. It's just a show to sell toys. And it's the same thing for this show, even though this show wasn't really heavily marketed like the first one was, because the first one was pushed to everyone. They were marketing it super hard because they wanted to capture all of those old fans and they wanted to pull that bait and switch that they always end up pulling. And this show, I think they just kind of knew that it wasn't for those fans. I think they just kind of knew that they wouldn't be able to pull that bait and switch simply because of the animation style. It just doesn't look that good. It looks like a children's show. It looks kind of like Fortnite-y. It just doesn't look like it would appeal to anyone who's over the age of 15, So I think they kind of knew that from the jump. But even this one, they're saying it's made for kids. It's made to sell toys. But I thought that's what the other one was for as well. So are they just making all these shows for kids and to sell toys? I don't understand it. But following hot on the heels of Kevin Smith's animated return to Eternia, another reboot of the He-Man franchise is coming to Netflix, and this time it is really for the kids. And like I said, they said that for the other one as well. I don't think they really know who any of these shows are being made for. I don't think that they really care. They just know that they can slap the He-Man name on it, get a few cheap views off of it, get a few cheap subscriptions off of it. It's the same thing with, the Matrix movie, same thing with even the new Star Wars trilogy. They had the same thought process. I think now Star Wars has some people who really respect the source material in there, but back whenever they were making the sequel trilogy, I think that they were truly just saying, you know what, let's just make whatever, slap the Star Wars name on it, slap the Skywalker Saga branding on it, and we'll make money. And they were right. They were 100% right about that. And I think that that's what the Matrix is as well. But the thing about the Matrix reboot is it feels way lazier than the Star Wars reboot was. It feels like the Matrix, the people who are rebooting the Matrix don't even care about trying to make it seem like they care about the source material. It seems like they're just going in there to just, slapping the Matrix name on it and doing whatever the hell they want to do with the show or with the movie. And it seems like the same thing for He-Man as well, for Masters of the Universe. It seems like they don't really care about even, the first one, the Kevin Smith one, it's Kevin Smith. So he's going to try and appeal to all those older fans because that's the people who he's made his living off of. That's the people who he's supposed to be a part of. He's supposed to be one of them. He's supposed to be one of us. So of course he's going to try to appeal to those fans, but at least he tried to make it seem like it wasn't going to be a bait and switch. At least he tried to make it seem like he was going to respect the source material material. A lot of things nowadays are not doing that. Like the Matrix movie, like I said, like this show just doesn't seem like it's even trying to appeal to those older fans, to respect the older fans of He-Man. But also it's spawning some other things as well that people are not happy about. It spawned this new She-Ra live action show coming from Amazon after the Netflix one got canceled. I believe it was after 5 seasons. And people are not happy about it. People are really throwing fits. The She-Ra fans who... How are you a grown person and a fan of She-Ra? I don't know, but it is what it is. A lot of these She-Ra fans are very, very angry about what's happening here. And apparently it's because of LGBTQ plus representation. I guess She-Ra in the She-Ra show on Netflix was a lesbian. And now they're thinking that her going to Amazon and being live action isn't going to be a lesbian, which I think that you could probably put your money on her being a lesbian because Amazon is making it. But Amazon and DreamWorks said we were going to take everything that made Netflix She-Ra successful and made it LGBT, the voice acting, and take it out. Did they say that? I don't know. I didn't really do that much research on that particular statement, but I would highly doubt that they would say something like that and not get canceled. But She-Ra live action gets canceled. We want our She-Ra movie, not some live action She-Ra movie. So as you can see, these fans are very angry about it and they're trying to cancel it. They even did a petition to cancel the Amazon live action reboot of She-Ra, and it got a decent amount of signatures, but I don't think that that's going to affect anything. I don't know what people think petitions can really do. They can't do anything other than make you feel like you're doing something. They will never actually change anything. I don't know why people keep doing them, but apparently a lot of people are mad about this Amazon remake, about this Amazon reboot of She-Ra, but it's just another show that is being spawned from this, resurgence of He-Man material, this resurgence of Masters of the Universe material. For some reason, people are loving rebooting this She-Ra stuff, this He-Man stuff, and it's just failing pretty much every time, whether it's a huge failure like the He-Man show where a lot of people just straight up trash on the show, but a lot of people did bring attention to the show, or if it's a failure like the She-Ra show where it's just not that many people even talk about it because it's so much of a failure. Indifference is worse than being angry about a show, 100%. If people are indifferent to your show, it is way worse than what happened with the He-Man show, because if people are indifferent like they are to the She-Ra show, that just means it's so bad that it's not even worth getting angry over. But when it comes to the He-Man show, I think people were really frustrated because it could have been so great, because they marketed it to where it was going to be a great show. If they would have gave us what they actually marketed, it could have been a really cool show. Plus the animation was really cool. So it's just so much. It was a kind of a perfect opportunity to make a good show, and they had the perfect mixture of stuff. It's just they made story choices that were just not respectful to the source material. It just wasn't respectful to the fans of the source material, especially. But also, She-Ra makes the leap to Amazon for a live action TV show, and I don't think this is the end. I don't think this is the end of these reboots of the He-Man stuff, of the She-Ra stuff, of the Masters of the Universe stuff. I think we're going to see a lot more for whatever reason. It must be profitable for some reason. Maybe it is the toy sales. I don't know. Maybe Amazon and Netflix get a percentage. I'm sure they get some sort of percentage of these toy sales. If you know, let me know in the comments how that ends up working out. I'm sure that they get some sort of a percentage if they're using these characters. If they're using the characters that Netflix and Amazon create, they have to be able to get some sort of percentage of those toy sales. If they're modeling the toys off of their characters, it must work like that for some reason. But we also have Masters of the Universe Revelations Part 2 coming kind of soon. It's coming before the end of 2021 is what they're saying. Obviously, Netflix is, for whatever reason, very secretive over their release dates. They'll never tell you the release dates of their shows until like a couple of weeks before the show comes out. It's really strange, but that's just how they operate. A lot of people are speculating it's going to come as early as the end of 2021. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm sure it'll be just as bad as the first part, if not worse, because the first part, they kind of were probably trying to keep people in order to bait and switch the second part. We'll see. If they do make the second part really good, if they do respect the fans in the second part, I think it's too late. I don't think it matters. I think that they already ruined their chances of ever hooking in those fans with the first part. Kevin Smith could come out and make the best second part of all time. It could be the best show, best season, best part of a show of all time. And I don't think it could be extremely respectful as well. But I think that they have already ruined that opportunity to hook those fans in that they really wanted to hook in with that bait and switch. They're already left. They might check it out, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think it's just going to be another part to make fun of, to make YouTube videos about, to laugh at if you're just a fan. I don't think it's going to be anything good. Not going to be anything to really, really write home about. But let me know what you think in the comments about Netflix and Masters of the Universe Part 2 coming out in late 2021. Do you think that they could actually redeem themselves? Could Kevin Smith actually redeem himself with Part 2? And what do you think about all of these other other things that this show is spawning, all these other He-Man and She-Ra shows that are coming out. You know, the kids one, apparently that's geared towards kids, and then they have the live action She-Ra show coming to Amazon after the Netflix one got canceled. What do you think about all this stuff happening? Let me know in the comments. If you did enjoy this video though, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, links to that video description as well. Thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you in the next one.